to the episode on how to do the left and right brain part of quantum idea generation, along with create fun and eliminate fear. I want to give a special welcome to listeners from 72 countries to the Innovation Best Practices, where my intent in every episode is to help you sell more and make more from your innovation program using proven and practical processes. Okay. There are several ways that you can tap into Innovation Best Practices. You can watch a VideoCast, and all you need to do is go to YouTube, and in the search bar on YouTube, put in Richard Innovation Best Practices. Search results will come up where third, fourth, fifth, whatever it is on the list. Click on it, and you'll be at the place where all of the current VideoCast episodes are available to you. You can listen to it as a podcast. You can go to i2ge.com. It's the letter I, number 2, ge.com/podcast. Or you can go to iTunes and just search for Innovation Best Practices in the podcast section. You'll find us right away. If you are on iTunes, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and review. It helps us get the word out and help more people become aware that we exist. So within the algorithm that exists at iTunes, the mystery of it all. We also have a free blog at i2ge.com/blog. And you have free apps for your iPhone and iPad and Android at Google Play. So free VideoCast, free podcast, free blog, and free apps. I can't make it any easier for you to listen to this. Okay. There's that word again, free, twice-a-month newsletter, insights not available in any of the podcast or VideoCast. Very easy to do. Just go on your cell phone and text to this number, 33444. That's 33444. The one word, free 33. No spaces, free 33. And if you'd like to contact me, I love hearing from listeners. Just send an email to richard@i2ge.com. Okay. Let's get into left and right brain creativity. We're now talking about, remember, there's 4 elements in quantum idea generation: stimulus and diversity, which we've covered. And in this episode, we're covering left and right brain creativity and have fun, not fear. We're all equally creative. Many research studies clearly demonstrate that creative people don't have to be born to be creative, or they're somehow special. While we are equally creative, we tend to be creative in significant and even dramatic differences between people in terms of how they like to be creative. Okay? So equally creative, but in very different ways. And that really is defined primarily by left and right brain orientation. Left brain creators like to focus on facts, structure, logic, and like to work in small versus large groups. Right brain creators tend to like visuals much more than facts. Lack of structure and chaos and freedom are good. Emotions and feelings are good, and likes larger group creating process as opposed to individual creating. Now, there are balanced brain creators, which are people that are equally adept in left and right brain creativity. And they tend to be equally comfortable with either left or right brain sort of approaches to creativity. Now, how do you determine the left and right brain makeup of the group and how you use that information to choose which kind of idea generating exercise you're going to use? We have a special evaluation that everybody takes, but these are readily available. You can just go on to Google and search test to evaluate left and right brain, and you'll get a bunch of free options. You have all the creative members that are going to be in the creative session take the test, and then you create a profile. What percent of them are left, percent right, and percent balanced? And here's essentially how you do it. There's an approximate blend of left and right brain exercises. If the split between left and right brain is 75-25, either way, then the exercise mix that you want to use is virtually the exercises that are right for the 75%. Okay? So if 75% are left brain and 25% right brain, you probably want to make all the planned exercises to be left brain exercises. If it's closer, 60-40, you want to have about 80% of the creative idea generating exercises to be right for the 60 part of that. So if 60% are right brain and 40% left brain, you'd like to have about 80% of the creative idea generating exercises for the right brain folks. Okay, this can change, and I'll make some comments on what can influence that as we go further. And I'll also talk about the differences between left and right brain exercises. If it's 50-50 split, pretty much, you probably want to use mostly left brain exercises. People tend to be a little bit more, even right brain people tend to understand the value of that more than left brain people are respecting the value of right brain approaches. But in a 50-50, you probably want to plan between a quarter to a third of the exercises being on the other side of the 50. So, or right brain exercises in this particular case. So there's no great magic. Don't get hung up in the specific numbers. I'm really talking about relative relationship in terms of left and right brain folks and how you plan to do that. Okay. Left and right brain idea generating exercises typically involve 3 steps. There's a stimulus presentation that tends to be mostly factual in many cases. Others have lots of visuals, and we've talked about that in terms of the kinds of stimulus. Then there's usually a period where people work alone with a few people sharing and building ideas, and then the group sharing and building. Some examples. Typically, there might be factual stimulus about business trends. Then individuals are asked to write down ideas based upon what they've just learned about ideas that could help achieve the vision for success. They do that for 10 or 12 minutes, and then 2 people in the group of 4 pair up and they share and build on each of their ideas, and then 2 pairs of people, now 4 people, then work together to share and build. So it's a 1 to 2 to 4 sort of building process, and then the 4 people share with the larger group of other groups of 4 people. Okay, so for right brain idea generating exercises, the exercise involves quick stimulus responses to apparently random stimulus, followed by random associations, followed by idea crystallization. Here's an example of a group of 4 and all of the steps that might be involved in one of these. You can also go to earlier podcasts in which Carrie McNamara talks about some specific creative idea generating exercises, and some of those are right brain. So they're good examples there. But to start, you would probably do, one of the favorite exercises that I do is start off with stimulus of just random visuals up on the screen. A polar bear, a canoe on a lake, a tree on top of a hill, snowfall, just on, and the visuals don't have anything to do with the vision for success. They're just meant to be kind of interesting and provocative, and you ask people then to write, when they see a word, see a picture rather, you ask them to write down the very first word that comes to mind on a small Post-it, and they keep writing the first words that come to mind. When people have exhausted that, I move on to the next visual. I then take the first word responses, which are all on small Post-its, and I randomly choose them and put them up. I might put 3 of them up on a flip chart, and then I start asking for random responses to those particular words. So the next step then is to play with random word combinations to create idea solutions to the innovation need. So there are a number of things that go on here. The basic sense I want to get to you here is there are random visuals. People are prompted to just write down the very first word that they see. From those words, I randomly choose a few, 2 or 3 of those words, and then those random words are used to generate more ideas, and then we come together to start crystallizing the ideas that have come out of all this. Okay, balanced brain exercises. I typically plan to use a mix of left and right brain generating. I take a look at the company culture. For example, if it's a data-driven, then I use more probably left brain exercises. If there's limited hierarchy and greater freedom within the culture, I'll tend to use more right brain exercises. This kind of comes with experience. And I experiment with a variety of left and right brain early on in a session and try to see where the group is responding the most and where I'm getting the most ideas, but more importantly, the most quality ideas. And as trends emerge, I increasingly use the type that appears to be the most effective most of the time. Okay? So, having covered left and right brain, there are very different exercises for left and right brain groups. I now want to move to the fourth element, which is eliminate fear and have only fun. You gotta fear fear. Fear stifles creativity. Fear creates misguided creativity. Fear kills passion. I think you got it. You don't want fear in a creative session. And the main sources of fear are from people looking bad in front of senior managers in the room. If they blurt out an idea and a senior manager just kind of shakes their head like, why did we hire this person? Boy, you can't have that. A second fear is that I'm not personally creative, and that can stifle people. You know, other people are a lot more creative than I am, so I'm just going to sit here like a rock. Can't have that either. And then there's general social fear of being with new people and in unusual circumstances. Introverts, for example, can experience this in some cases. All these and probably a few other sources of fear you want to absolutely eradicate from a group session. Here's how I go about eliminating fear. I sit down and have one-on-one manager conversations with the managers that are in the creative session. And I underscoring the power they have to create fear and stifle creativity through their words and body language. I really, really impress upon them that if they say something critical, if they roll their eyes, if they shake their head, body language, all that sort of stuff, just really need to get that out of the room. And most managers I work with, the vast majority, are very sensitive to that and very supportive. The second is that I emphasize and celebrate wild and wacky ideas. Wild and wacky ideas are critical to your success. In a creative group that I'm running, if I see a group come up with an absolutely stunning idea, I'll go up to the group of 4 people and I say, how did that happen? And here's the story I'm told about 9 out of 10 times. It kind of goes like this. Somebody says, Susie just blurted out this wild and wacky idea, and then John said, oh, and we could do this. And then Mac said, oh, and we could do this. And then Janice said, hey, let's pull all that together and let's see what we got. And you got this absolutely stunning idea. Well, if the wild and wacky idea if people did not feel the freedom to express wild and wacky ideas, we probably never would have gotten that big idea. So I need to create an environment, or a facilitator needs to create an environment where wild and wacky ideas can thrive. That's what you need. And you need to create a no judging and there are no bad ideas environment. There's going to be time for judging later on in the process. So for people who are compulsive judgers, tell them just to kind of put it on hold, and there will be time for judging later on in the process. But that time is not now in the creative session. So the role that I play in having fun is having very, very high positive energy that I bring into the room. I'm searching for opportunities to constantly praise and celebrate ideas and the people who created them. And virtually any idea is worth praise and some level of celebration. Okay? Create occasional changes of pace. I might inject a right brain creative exercise into a largely left brain group and watch chaos happen. Quick story about that. I was running a very left brain creative session for a company a number of years ago, and early, about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, I just wasn't getting the level of creativity out of this group that I knew I needed, and the energy wasn't there. So I decided to call an audible, and I got one of my most extreme right brain exercises. And we headed off into the right brain exercise, and we got into it for about 5 or 6 minutes, and the senior person from the client spoke up and said the following statement: Richard, do you have any idea what you're doing? You know, one of those confidence building things that you want when you're a consultant and leading a session like that. And I said, yes, if you'll bear with me for about another 12 or 15 minutes, see where we come out on this. But that was the reaction of a very left brain person finding a right brain exercise to be chaos, unstructured, crazy, was never going to produce ideas. Fast forward to the end, and he was amazed at the quality of ideas. We had the best ideas in the session up until that time, and that exercise really energized the group and opened them to new possibilities. And then I went back to more left brain exercises for the balance of the session. So sometimes I throw one of those in just to kind of shake people up. And there's also, as I just mentioned, injecting different kind of exercises to kind of have people have fun. I've got a 100-page binder of creative idea generating exercises. There's some really fun exercises in there that get people moving around the room and all sorts of stuff. So it's with plenty of opportunities to have fun. So the quick 4-element idea generation summary: we've talked about diversity, stimulus, left and right brain, and fun, no fear. Every element is part of every creative session and every specific creative exercise. You need to do all 4. This is how you get the at least 12 times more ideas than brainstorming. You need to never lose sight of these fundamentals. So in each session that you run and every exercise that you run, you want diversity, stimulus, a left or right brain exercise specifically designed to the need, and you really want to underscore having fun and eradicating fear. Okay? All is important. If you want to know more innovation best practices, I've got some help here for you. You can go to the i2ge.com website. On the menu bar, click on DIY Innovation Training. And there'll be a whole bunch of training programs there. If there isn't one that fits your exact need, just send me an email and we'll tailor a unique one for you. Here's the purpose of this. I want to make you innovation self-sufficient. So these training programs help you do it so you don't need to hire expensive consultants like me to do it for you, to become self-sufficient. This is a path to major cost savings for you. I also have one of my 6 books is Proven Practical Innovation That Delivers Results. It's available only at Amazon in paperback and Kindle. It's value priced below my break-even cost. So great value. If you have suggestions, comments, or requests, as always, I love hearing from listeners. Just send me an email at richard@i2ge.com. In the next episode, we're going to change gears before we return later to the how-to series. It's about how to find innovation where you least expect it. It's a rather intriguing approach. It's not for everyone, and it's not for every situation, but it is a rather interesting process to add to your innovation portfolio. And as consistent with having innovation best practices, it's an article from the Harvard Business Review. As all of you know by now, I greatly appreciate you taking time out of a busy day to spend it with me. And I really look forward to reconnecting with you soon. And until then, please have a great day.